So, today's lesson 4 is 5 to 19. We're talking about dilations. Okay, what a dilation is going to take a figure and either make it bigger or smaller by a scale factor. Okay, so a scale factor. I'll let you write that down. So all a dilation is just making something bigger or smaller. And so when you go to the eye doctor and they dilate your eyes, then it makes your pupils of your eyes get bigger, right? Yeah, Juan Carlos?
Can you change the contrast a little bit? Can I see because of the reflection?
Well, you know what, I'll try. Oftentimes when I try and record, it doesn't allow me to do any changes, but we'll see. You want me to make it darker?
Yeah.
Make it lighter?
The shades.
Yeah, you can lower the shades, but, or Juan Carlos, you might need to move. I don't know. I might be able to move the, turn the lamp on. Does that help?
Yeah, but which window?
That's better. That's okay.
Is that better? I just got the light. Okay, let me keep going. So what happens is this. It does not, it keeps its shape. Okay, so we're just going to make it bigger and smaller, but it'll still keep the same shape. Does that make sense? So I want to take triangle ABC, and I'm going to dilate it by a factor of 1.5. And I'm going to do it from the origin. The origin is the point at the very middle, 0, 0. So I'm going to actually use my ruler. And I'm going to measure with my ruler, and then I'm going to multiply the length. Okay, so let me grab a calculator. I need a calculator.
Should we all grab calculators?
Sure, it would help. So I'm going to go and measure in centimeters. Okay. So I measured this one from the origin using my ruler, and I got it to be about 2.5. Okay. Now, 2.5. Okay. Boys, stop talking. Now, I'm going to take my 2.5 and I'm going to multiply it. So I'm going to take my 2.5 and I'm going to multiply it by my factor, 1.5. So what I'm going to do is take, it's super easy. So I'm just going to go, okay, what's my length? 2.5. And I'm going to times it by 1.5, and I get a new length of 3.75. So my new length then is a 3.75. So I'm going to measure out from the origin 3.75. So my new point is out here. So I'll go ahead and extend this out. And so my new point becomes, I'm going to call it A prime. Okay, put a little dash on the top. This is the original. This is the original. And then I went out 3.75, and that's my new image. That's my image, okay? So I measured this 2.5. I multiplied that length by 1.5, and I ended up getting a length of 3.75. So I measured out 3.75 and put it out. Let's do the same thing with B. So B, I'm going to measure B, and from my origin to B is about 5. Okay, so I got about 5 from here to here. It's about 5. And now I'm going to take my 5, I'm going to multiply my length of 5 by 1.5, and just going to use my calculator and I get a 7.5. So now I'm going to extend that line and make the length of this line 7.5. Sure. So I want to measure, as people are catching up, I'm just going to measure the lengths from the origin to that point, and then multiply that length by 1.5. I'm going to measure from the origin to that point, and I got 5. Multiply that by my scale factor, so I'm going to go out to 7.5. So I'm going to go all the way to 7.5.
Why do you measure from the origin?
Only because I want you to. Sometimes there's a point P that you, it depends on what they ask. On your homework, they're going to say from another point somewhere else, okay? And you'll blow it up from there or shrink it from there, okay? So I'm going to go all the way out there. So I went my 7.5, Puts me all the way out there, okay? And that's going to be what we call B prime. It's my new point, B prime. So that's my new point A prime. That's my new point B prime. And now I'm going to do the same thing with point C. I'm just going to measure it. My length is about 3.5 maybe. Okay, so this length is about 3.5. I'm going to take my 3.5. I'm going to multiply it by my scale factor of 1.5. So 3.5 times my 1.5, and I get an answer about 5.25. So I'm going to move point C out a length of 5.25. So I'm going to go ahead and put that out there, 5.25, maybe right about there. That's my new point C prime. Okay, so I just extended it. So the total length was 5.25. Now my new triangle's in there. I'm going to go ahead and draw my new triangle. And to make it easier, I'm going to actually highlight my new triangle so you can see it. So I've taken my triangle ABC and I've dilated it by a factor of 1.5, so it's 1.5 bigger. And so I'm going to highlight it so you can see it. So here's my new triangle. So I'm going to say that triangle A prime, B prime, C prime is my new one. Okay, there's my new triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. Okay, and these are called just primes, but they're little tick marks to show this. I've got my original triangle A, B. See, that's my original, and then I changed it. So this is called my image, okay? So it's my tree image, and this is my image, A prime, B prime. You know which one came first. What one came first? Plain old A. Then A prime is the one we made, okay? All right, same thing on the next one, okay? We're going to dilate the quadrilateral by a scale factor of 2/3. So and let's do it from the origin also. So let's go straight from here. I like letters. I'm going to go A, B, C, D. I like to have letters just because it gives it a name. Okay. So again, I'm going to measure the lengths. Now this one's going to get smaller. Does that make sense? 2/3. So I'll measure from the origin to, and I got about 3.2 maybe. I think it looks like about 3.2. Sorry, about 3.2. So I'm going to take my 3.2 and I'm going to multiply it by 2/3 because that's my scale factor. So I'll take my 3.2 and I multiply it by 2/3. And I can use my calculator. I'll go 3.2 and I multiply it times 2/3, and I get an answer about 2.1. So I'm going to go ahead and measure this out, just 2.1, which is about there. So my image, my A prime, my new point A is there. And I'll do the same thing with C, with B, C, and D. I'll measure them. I'll take that length and I'll multiply by 2/3 and I'll shrink it down. Okay, so I got about 8 here. So I got a length of about 8. I'm going to take my 8 and I'm going to multiply my 8 times 2/3. I'm just going to use my calculator. I'm going to go, okay, what is 8 times 2/3?
Mr. Davies, can you just
Slow down?
Can you just estimate sometimes?
Sure.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean 5.3, so it's about 5.3. Yeah, we just got to get it close, right? So I'm going to go out 5.3 from the origin, which is about there. Okay, so that's B prime. As long as we're in the right general area, right? I'll do the same thing with C. I'll measure the length of C, which is about 11. Okay, so I got about 11 centimeters. So all the way out here is about 11. And I'm going to take my 11 and multiply it by 2/3, right? And I'll get a new length, right? So 11 times 2/3, and I get an answer of about 7.3. So I'm going to go make this about 7.3. So I'll use my ruler, and I'll go out 7.3. See how easy? This is pretty easy, right? Everybody can do this. So there's my new C prime. Okay, I'll do the same thing with D. Okay, I'll do the same thing with D. I'll measure out, and I got about 7. centimeters, and I'll multiply that length by 2/3. It's pretty easy. You guys agree?
Yeah.
So 7 times 2/3, and I get an answer of about 4.7. That's about 4.7. So I'm going to measure 4.7. 4.7, maybe right about there. And that's my new D. So when I make a new point, I put the little prime, okay? So D becomes D prime, okay? That's the point that moved. This is the original, the pre-image, and this is the image. So now I'm just going to connect the dots and make my new quadrilateral. Okay, it's looking like that. Okay. I'm going to highlight it so I can see it. Just helps me because then I can see it better if I highlight it.
Where did you get the D?
I measured out of 7, and then I multiplied it by 2/3, and I got about 4.7. How you doing, Abby? You getting it?
Yeah.
Good. Good. Okay, and there it is. Easy, right? Just take some measuring and some multiplying and some drawing. Thumbs up. Everybody can do this, right? Thumbs up. Everybody agree? Everybody can do this, okay? Okay. Now flip the page. When you're ready. Am I going too fast? Okay, want me to wait a second or two? Okay. You can do this, can't you? I know you can.
Why is this like one of the last things? It wasn't one of the first ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so turn the page, you guys. So here's the thing. This one's already been drawn. So if we want the scale factor, you got to look at what happened. So this is my original. This is my original, and this is my new figure. Okay. So it got smaller, didn't it? Okay, it got smaller. You guys agree? So to get the scale factor is always going to write this down. Scale factor. Write this down, please. Is going to be the new over the original. Okay, so if you want the scale factor, it's going to be the new divided by the scale factor. So let's look at A. So the new is 2, isn't it? It's a length of 2, right? And then the original was 4. So the scale factor here, scale is going to be 2 over 4, which is same thing as 1/2. So it's actually 1/2 as big. Now it looks like it got half as big, doesn't it? So you went from the original to this figure. It got smaller. So the scale factor should, 1/2. Thank you for not correcting me. 1/2. Sorry, guys. So it should be a fraction because it got smaller, right? Okay, let's look at B. It got bigger. It went from here to out here. It got bigger. So if we take the new, which is 25, over the original, which is 20, that'll reduce to 5/4, which meant it had a scale factor of 5/4. It got bigger. Anything bigger than 1 means it's going to get bigger, okay? So I just took the new 25 divided by the original, okay? And on C, it got popped way out, right? So the new is all the way at 27, right? Over the original, which is 9, which has a scale factor of 3, or 3 over 1. Okay. Okay. This is pretty easy, isn't it, right? Okay, now let's look at 4. So 4 is not that hard either. 4 is actually even easier because we're going to do the scale factor by multiplying these points by -3. But let's do it first. Let's graph it. -3, 1, there's A. -4, -1, there's B. -2, -1, there's C. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and draw the original in. Here's my original. Okay, here's my original. I might even color it just because I want to. How's that for an attitude, huh?
That's a tiny triangle.
It is a little triangle. That's why I'm going to color it because it's so hard to see, okay? So I'm going to color it in blue. Okay, so there's my original. And what we're going to do is this. It's a scale factor. Now the negative, something weird is going to happen with the negative, okay? But let's multiply. So we're going to multiply all points by -3, okay? So my k, or my scale factor, is a -3. Now the negative's going to do something with it. And let's go ahead and do it and see what happens, okay? So a prime is going to be a positive 9, -3, okay? Here's what I did. Multiply by -3. Multiply by -3. B prime is going to be a positive 12, positive 3. So it's going to be a 12, 3. Just multiplied by -3, -3.
So you flip the positive and negatives when there's a negative.
You're way ahead of me. Will you keep that to yourself? Yes, 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 Leon. You're 5 minutes ahead of me, okay? Good man. C prime, multiply by -3. I'm going to get a positive 6 and a positive 3. Now let's see what Leon saw. Okay, let's graph it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's A prime. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 3. 1, 2, 3. There's B prime. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. There's C prime. So let's go ahead and graph this. And then Leon, in a moment, I'm gonna have you say it again, but not yet. Okay, let me finish drawing. Okay, so everybody can see it. And I'm gonna highlight it because it's just easier to see, right? Okay. All right. Now, not only did it get bigger, but what happened, Leon?
Flipped upside down.
Did you guys see it? So the negative made it flip, didn't it? In fact, not only did it flip the A's, but it also flipped the B's and the C's too. Do you see that? So it flipped the B's and the C's also. So it flipped the X's and it flipped the Y's because you made them negative, okay? Nice observation. Okay, we're not going to do a journal. We're going to go to our homework, okay? And then, okay, thumbs up.